Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's Steve here at Liberty Tours. I'm just turning on my controls. I'm about to turn us on to start on Facebook. Let me just have a little look, see where my options for that are. Live on Facebook. So the first thing that I'm going to do is talk a little about introducing myself. Thank you for joining me. My name's Steve. I'm the Managing Director of Liberty Tours. And I know that even at a time of disruption like this with coronavirus, all of you could be other places and doing other things. So I just say thank you very much for spending the time to come and join us. Today we're totally committed to offering you value, and I hope that you'll have an entertaining introduction to the wineries of France, albeit that we'll only be scratching the surface. Now, for people on this webinar, your cameras and microphones are turned off, so the only people you'll be able to see are the two presenters. I'll introduce my co-host in a minute, but the Q&A function, the question and answer function, is turned on. You'll find if you can see your control bar anywhere for your Zoom meeting, you should find a little button called Q&A. Please go to it. You can type a note in there now and say hello. If you've got any questions you'd like us to ask along the way, please pop them in there, and we'll talk about it later. And you're going to need the Q&A later, because at the end of this presentation, one of our Australian viewers is going to be fortunate enough to win a beautiful wine decanter. And to do that, we'll be asking you to answer a question in this Q&A box, okay? So if we have a look at who Liberty Tours are as an Australian travel agency, I think the thing on the screen sums up our primary value. Now, we are explorers. We're always seeking another place, another adventure, another way. And the next line to this says, we try it, we like it, or we leave it. So that we're always improving. So, and in this Travelogue series, because people can't travel at the moment, can't get out around the world and do things, this is our way of keeping your dreams alive. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to introduce my co-host. Can we see Alister on the screen now? We can't. Well, let me stop my sharing. See if this happens. Stop sharing. Now we've got him.
Hi, everyone.
Ah, there you are. That's Alister at the top of the screen there. Now, Alister is a man who's works at the moment for Viking Cruises as commercial manager there. He's travelled all around the world, and so I just want to thank you for being here, Alister. I know that you have travelled extensively and got great experience in the travel industry. So please give yourself a wrap and tell everyone who they're listening to today.
Good afternoon, everyone. As you can see from my background, coming all the way from the vineyards in France. That's actually my lounge room in Sydney, being honest. So yeah, good afternoon, everyone. It's great. Just before we came on, I heard that there was people from all around the world on the podcast. So good afternoon to everybody, wherever you are in the world. My name's Alister Burn. I'm the commercial manager for Viking Cruises in Australia. I've been working with Viking now for just over 2 years. It's an absolutely fantastic company to work for. Very, very proud to be working for the company, especially now with everything that's happening there. They've definitely stood by all of their staff and all of the clients as well. So great company to work with. I have worked in the travel industry for just over about 16, 17 years now. Starting off in retail travel and then moving into youth adventure travel. I moved to Australia, being from Scotland, I moved to Australia 10 years ago to follow my dreams, and I opened up my own business, bringing people into Australia on their working holiday visas, and had that company for about 5 years and then sold out to another larger company. And I've been working now with the in the cruise industry for a couple of years now. As you rightly said, I've been very fortunate to travel all around the world, both within the travel industry. It's a great perk to working in the industry, but also my own independent travel. So I've just ticked over 90 countries now. So I'm hoping to get to the 100 countries, where we've got a bit of a problem at the moment to get there, but hopefully it won't be too soon till we're back up in the skies and able to go. So yeah, it's great to be here to talk about some of the tours that we do. And I was very fortunate to do one of the tours that we're going to primarily talk about today. Last year in June, I took a group of Australians across to actually experience the Bordeaux trip. So really looking forward to sharing that with you this afternoon.
Perfect, great. And so let's just have a talk now about what we are going to be talking about. So I've brought up the screen with the pictures of France and the wine growing regions. There are 11 of them. I don't expect that we'll talk through them all in depth. Well, in fact, I know that this afternoon what we're going to do is we're going to focus actually on Bordeaux. But I just wanted to say to people, firstly, reiterate that this is an introductory presentation, and it's more likely to appeal to people who have a liking for champagne, for champagne especially, but for wines in general, want to know more about the French regions. I think aficionados who have an in-depth knowledge of wine will get more from this presentation to listening to Alister talking about the cruises that are on offer from Viking, and just get a feel for what the river cruise experience is about, but hopefully there'll be bits for information about the wine growing regions as well. Perhaps between us, Alister, we can talk a little bit about these various regions. Do you want to start by talking about one or two of the regions?
Yeah, so the main regions that I've been to, just lost the map. So the main regions that I've actually visited, as I mentioned before, the Bordeaux region, that's very prominent in the area, obviously for Bordeaux wines, yes. And also an area that we visit is Sauternes. So Sauternes is a great area, very famous for its sweet wine. So it's dessert white wines, which we visited as well. So some great areas around there. Another area that we travel to and have traveled to in the past is down on the southwest coast, around Provence. So again, very famous for its rosés in that area there. I've also been fortunate enough to be around the Champagne region, so taking in all those areas as well. So I have traveled a little bit about France.
Okay, that's at the top.
Yeah, so up the top northeast of the France region. So yeah, been very fortunate to travel quite a lot in France. So yeah, those are the three regions that we specialize in, certainly in our cruises as well.
It's amazing as we look through the various regions. If we were to go to, say, well, actually Bordeaux, where we're going, is primarily a white wine region, isn't it, down here in Bordeaux? But with some interest in, but much less of an interest in growing of reds down there. Is that correct there?
It is actually famous, so both for reds and whites. Okay. So you have the Bordeaux, the left bank and the right bank, so very famous for the Bordeaux blends, but also very famous for its Semillon, Sauvignon Blancs as well, and then obviously the Sauternes, so the sweet white wines. So there's a bit of a mix down in that region.
Great. Well, let's get into having a look at the area that we're actually going to go to. So this is an expansion of the Bordeaux region.
That's right. So with the cruise, we actually fly in or train in, depending on how long you're looking to spend in Paris, or flying into Paris and looking to spend how long you're looking to spend in France. So we actually took the train from Paris. I spent a couple of days in Paris before, took the train down to Bordeaux. It's meant to be 3.5 hours. It took us over 6 hours to get there. The trains weren't really working on time that day. into the Bordeaux region, and then we spend 8 days around those areas. So the main areas that we go to, Cadillac, we then head off into the Blé and Borg region. So this is the region where we do get to experience a lot of those wines, and also the cognac region as well. We obviously can't forget cognac. It's a very prominent area down there. I can talk about that a little bit later on with my experience at the distilleries there, at the Camus distillery. So yeah, and then around Pauillac, all of that region really is famed. So beautiful, beautiful rolling vineyards, lots of chateaus. All of that area is just absolutely fantastic.
Mm. And this is how you get there.
Yeah, so that's our beautiful river ships. So this is actually a photograph I took. This is actually us docked up in Blé. So it's a view down from the citadel there. So the big fortress, medieval fortress that's actually viewed. So you can actually walk everywhere that we dock is right in the center of the towns and the cities that we visit. So everything's in walking distance, which is great. So no long big coach tours. And this is the inside of the river ship. So we actually have the river ships here, as you can see, beautifully decor throughout. With the ships themselves, Viking as a company, we actually have the largest fleet of ships anywhere on the riverways. So we actually have 72 river ships now sailing across all the waterways across Europe. And in France, we cover the Bordeaux region, also down into Lyon and Provence, so around that region as well. And then we also cover the Seine, so from Paris up into Normandy. With the riverway here down in Bordeaux, we actually have 4 ships. With the ships themselves, they're all exactly the same. So all the ships are exactly the same. The newest fleet of ships as well, so all 2012 or newer. The ship that I sailed on was actually built in 2018, so it was actually only a year old when I actually sailed on it. As you can see with the river ships themselves, 190 guests serviced by 67 crew. So there's about a 3-to-1 ratio on the crew. So very, very attentive, very, very well looked after. You can see from the images here, really light, airy space. As you can imagine, being a company from Norway, very much a Scandinavian design. So lots of floor to ceiling glass, light fabrics, lots of areas there as well for you to go through.
Yes, and with only, just say 190 guests on the ship?
190 guests, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the experience is very different to people who might have been on ocean cruising.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, ocean ships now, we're up to 6,500, 7,000 people on a lot of the ocean ships now. With the river ship, it's a completely different experience. I can balance that out. We, as Viking, we actually do have our own ocean ships as well. So we have six ocean ships with only 930 guests, so not the big 6,500 capacity ships, but a really smaller personal experience. It's really like having a floating 5-star hotel on the water. So really, really great, really relaxed. Obviously, there's no waves, so no seasickness involved as well. And it's a really great way just to get around all of those areas. So really, you've got your accommodation, your meals, and your transport all in one.
And another thing about the river cruise experience that is quite different to many of the ocean-going cruises is that when people go on an ocean-going cruise, they're always buying drinks packages and being encouraged to spend money all over the place. But for most of these river trips, almost everything that you're looking for is included, isn't it?
That's correct. So at Viking, we're pretty much the most inclusive river cruise line out there, or cruise line out there. Once you purchase your cruise fare with us, everything's included. So we included a shore excursion in every port of call, and we'll talk about a few of those options as we go through. We also include all meals. So breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks throughout the day. All of your beers, wines, and soft drinks at lunch and dinner. Teas, coffee, bottled water, that's all included. We also include everything in the stateroom as well. So things like minibar. We do have laundry facilities as well that are available. We also have complimentary Wi-Fi throughout the ship as well, which works in the stateroom and also in the communal areas. If you don't have your own device, we also have computer terminals in the library area where you're able to go and sit down at one of our computer terminals and use those free of charge. We also have a library area as well, which is all there, so you can pick up both books on the region, so learning about the region as well. On board, we also have the curriculum activities. So we do things like cheese tasting, wine tasting. We have French lessons on board. So lots of different things that we do and we talk about. And then entertainment in the evening. So we have a live band in the evening every night. And we also have guest entertainers that come on board the ship when we stay in dock overnight. So there's lots and lots of different things. We also include all of the prepaid gratuities, taxes, fees, it's all included. So pretty much once you come on board one of our ships, you can literally come on our ships, not spend $1 and go away and still have had a great time.
So what sort of duration do people usually like to go for on these?
Well, we have cruises in Europe anywhere from 7 days all the way through to 35 days. So it really just depends on what you are interested in and obviously what you're looking to do pre and post a cruise. Generally a cruise, or taking people across to Europe, generally a cruise is part of a bigger trip within a certain region. So most people, they look to go across. Our number one seller is our Grand European Tour, which is from Amsterdam to Budapest, which is 14 days. That's really your starter cruise. And then once people are then looking to specialize in areas into France, into Portugal, we have 3, 7, and 8 day cruises. And then we also have a larger cruise, which is 15 days as well. So we can really accommodate depending on what you're looking for and how in depth you're looking to visit a country. Then we have something really for everyone.
Yes, that's one of our experiences here at Liberty Tours. We often find people, because we're an Australian travel agent, people going from here, we find that we get a mix of people who are first-time travellers and the people who are who've done it once and are absolutely hooked on it. But the people who've saved up the whole life and go away on a trip will usually want to do a land tour, because if they're in Paris, they certainly want to go, or in France, they definitely want to go and see the sights in Paris. They want to see the Louvre, they want to see the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, of course.
They want to go to the Palace of Versailles. And as you say, that they will combine a land tour to places of their interest with a beautiful, beautiful cruise like this. Now, what's this beautiful palatial place we've got on the screen now?
So this is actually in Bordeaux. So this is the first stop. So when you arrive into Bordeaux, so Bordeaux is actually very famous. It's actually got the most historic monuments in any city in France apart from Paris. So it's actually very famous in the squares there. So this is just a selection of some of the beautiful palaces and monuments that are available to have a look around in Bordeaux.
And I've got a feeling that this might be one of your photos too, from what you were telling me
This
earlier.
is actually the one on the left is actually the Grand Theatre. So that's the Grand Theatre in Bordeaux. Also, Bordeaux has one of the largest squares in Europe as well. So lots and lots of beautiful areas to do. When we first arrive on the embarkation day, and then on the second day, we actually have a full walking tour of the city, taking in all the highlights. So taking in the squares, taking in the theatre, the fountains, everything there as well. So learning about all the areas that are all available for you to have a look around in Bordeaux. Great. We also get a lot of free time as well. So yes. Again, one of the, I guess the misconceptions about river cruising is that you're always on the go. You're always taking places here, there, and everywhere. But there is a lot of free time as well to really personalize your cruise. And if there's something that you specifically want to go back and see, or you just want to take some time to meander around the shops or sit and have a coffee and a pastry, then whatever you want to do. So there's a lot of time to really customize your cruise depending on what you want to do as well.
So just before we move forward and get a bit closer to the wines, which is why we're here, I just also want to ask, do you normally sail at night or in the daytime, or a combination?
A combination. So we actually sail a combination generally on this because the distances aren't too long in France. The riverways in France are actually quite short, as you'll have seen from the map before. The distances are actually quite short, so we don't really have to have those long sails. What we do as a company is we actually sail at the best times. So as a company across the whole of Europe, we sail when it's the best times to do so. So again, what a lot of people don't realize, a lot of the riverways in Europe are actually there, and the canalways are actually there for industrial purposes. So they are actually working rivers, and there is a lot of commerce along the way. So coming out, I know we're heading away from France, but coming out of Amsterdam, for example, there's a full day of sailing near enough that is just factories and buildings. So there's not really great things to see and do. So we actually do a lot of sailing on those rivers in the evening time, and then during the day we have that. The great thing about France, and I've got a few images coming through where we actually do all of our sailing during the day. So we'll generally do it in the morning time. So you'll wake up in the morning, have breakfast. We'll actually do some leisurely cruising in the morning, and then we'll head off. We'll port and we'll head off in the afternoon and the evening to do some of our sightseeing. We'll also spend a lot of time overnight in docks. So there's a few images as well coming up of actually the docking locations that we are. So beautiful summer's evening, getting to sit out on the Aquavit terrace and just have a few drinks and relax is great. This one here, actually, this is actually in Cadillac. So this is our docking location. So this was taken off the bow of the ship on the Aquavit terrace. So it's an area that you can sit out in the evening and have an alfresco dinner or a drink in the evening. So great way to do it. So we generally do our sailing during the day, or we'll stay overnight, and then we'll do all of our touring in the morning, and then we'll then head off and we'll do some leisurely cruising while you're having your lunch as well. So it just depends, but certainly in France, everything's during the day, pretty much.
So we're starting to get quite closer while we're talking about Cadillac. Here's another view.
Yeah, so this is Cadillac, this area here. So in the morning, we actually head off and we do a tour of Cadillac, so into the town in the center. And then in the afternoon, we actually embark a motor coach and we head off to the wineries here. So this is actually taking you off into the Sauternes region, as I mentioned before, with all the sweet white wines. So this is the winery that we go to. This is actually owned, do you know the Spar shops? So the Spar supermarkets?
Yes.
This is actually, so Spar is actually a Dutch company, and the owner of Spar is actually the owner of the winery here on the left-hand side. So we actually get to go to the winery and then into the barrel rooms. So in the bottom right-hand corner, this is all the barrel rooms, and we do all the tastings here as well. So it's a really, really great day out. When we come back in the afternoon, we then get to go into Cadillac itself. We actually pass through all of the areas in there. It's famous for its sea gates, so it's actual battlements and armaments that were there to protect it throughout the times.
And so...
Sorry, Steve.
I can imagine needing a little nap in the afternoon after getting in for one of those tastings.
Yeah, there's a few. Certainly, they're not shy in the wine tasting, which is good. So yeah, you can definitely have quite a few drinks on the way. The images that are up now are actually just really reminiscent of what you'll actually see along the riverways. So as I mentioned before, during breakfast time or lunchtime, this is some of the beautiful cruising that we can do. Again, in the summertime, beautiful summer's days, so you can sit on the Aquavit terrace or up top on the sun deck and just watch the world go by, have a look, read your book, have a drink. It's a great relaxing way to cruise the waterways.
And what about in the evenings? Do people get out into the townships and things in the evening?
Yep. So again, everything that we do in the evening time is optional. So we do spend on this cruise, the 8-day cruise, we actually do spend 4 evenings docked up. So obviously the dinner is included every evening on board the ship. However, a lot of our guests do tend to actually head off in the evening and have their own dinner. So we actually have a concierge on board the ship. It's not just there for your questions and queries, but it's also there for dinner reservations. Some people will actually head off and do some of our our optional tours. So one of the optional tours, you can go off and you can have dinner in the evening, also to shows, to opera, to local cultural shows and things like that. So in the evening time, yeah, it's a great way to go off. What I did with my group is we actually had dinner on board every evening. And then in the evening time, we would then go off for a bit of a walk around and visit some of the bars and the cafes, have a drink, watch the world go by. I was very fortunate to be there when being from Scotland, I'm a big soccer fan. So I was there for the Champions League final. So we found a little bar for the Champions League and we just mixed in with the locals. It was a great evening.
That sounds like such a wonderful mix of experiences. It's quite decadent in a way, and I can see why many of our customers, because we can't get away from the thing that river cruising isn't cheap, because we have 200 people on the ship instead of 6,000, 4,000 or 5,000 people, and a much greater staff ratio. It's a more expensive experience, but I can see why for so many people it's the adventure of or the experience of a lifetime, from a relaxation and sightseeing tour, or otherwise for people who have more disposable income, why they choose to go back again and again and again.
When you actually put everything together, if you are going to do a self-crew or a self-drive tour, when you actually put together all your meals, all your drinks, also your accommodation, your transport, whether that be a car or something like that, when you actually add all that up together and then you divide it out versus the cost of a cruise, it actually does work out very, very good value.
Yes.
The other thing is that you don't have to worry about anything. Everything's taken care of. So it is actually a nice, relaxing time. One person's not driving. Everybody can have a drink. Everybody can have a bottle of wine. It's a really fantastic way to travel around.
Well, exactly. If you're on a self-drive tour for at least one person, it's actually quite a stressful experience, and it's not that much of a holiday at all, really.
And there's no arguments over the Google Maps either, which is a good one as well.
And the cheeses in Europe are so much superior than we get here in the Antipodes, because here in Australia they're not allowed to sell live cheeses, so the flavours are much richer in Europe.
Yeah, just the standard of everything in Europe, both with the produce that you get as well. A lot of people in these areas still shop at the local markets. So the local producers will come down to the markets every couple of times a week and sell everything. So it's not the sprayed perfect stuff that you see in Coles and Woolworths here. This is the real tasty stuff. So everything tastes completely different, both from the cheeses, but also from the meats that you get, and also from the local produce, which is just fresh. It's just beautiful. Completely different taste to it.
And this couple here are doing more than just taking their dog for a walk, aren't they?
Yeah, so this is a good friend, Edward. He became a good friend. I actually still speak to him, and he's a truffle farmer. So one of the tours that we do, this is actually an optional tour. So at Viking, we have two different types of tours. One which is our included tour. So every single day when we're in port, we have an included tour, which is included in the cruise fare. But we also have optional tours, which are tours, they're paid. So there's a charge for them. But this is really to personalize your cruise and your trip however you would like to do it and whatever you're interested in. So this Edward is actually a truffle farmer. So we went on a day tour where we'd actually go off to the truffle farm. We met Edward and his dog as well. The dog's name is Farah. So Farah, the dog there. And they actually use the dogs now to hunt out the truffles. So traditionally you sort of see truffles and you see pigs. But I found out that the reason they don't use pigs much anymore is that the pigs actually eat the truffles, where the dogs don't. So we went there. We learned all about the truffle, how they're made, cultivated, and then how they're sold, and also how to actually distinguish between real and fake truffles, and also how to actually distinguish between real truffle oil, fake truffle oil, and so on. So really, really interesting. I did find out though that some of the truffles actually sell up to $3,500 Australian dollars per kilo. So
Wow.
definitely a delicacy.
You can't afford to have any wastage in your kitchen at that rate, can you?
And then we retired. Then afterwards, we went back to his farmhouse where we actually had a 3-course lunch, which were all served. So we had truffle butter for the bread. We then had a pasta which had a truffle cream sauce through it. And then for dessert, we actually had ice cream, and it had a caramel truffle sauce, which is actually made by Edward as well. So a really, really fantastic day, and something, you know, completely different and I guess unique to that area of France.
Wonderful. So as we're moving on, actually, just before we go on, we're about to move on to another city at the moment. I just wanted to tell you who's with us today, because we've got people from all around the world.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Apart from a large audience in Australia, for the people watching, our systems don't know exactly where people are, but as our computer systems, when we book through Eventbrite and that sort of thing, try and work out whereabouts in the world you're coming from. Now, if I miss anyone, or if anyone's registered late, I apologise. But here are some of the areas. We've got a couple of people from Egypt. We've got someone from Spain, the Netherlands, Denmark. We've got a number of different states in the United States. We've actually got a couple of people from France, including someone from, I think, a village near Lyon.
Oh, wow.
Brentford in the UK, just outside of London.
Yeah.
Cork, so that's Ireland. Australia. Rome. Salt Lake City in Utah. Cologne in Germany, just across the water, just across the border from, it's quite a long way actually, you have to go right across France to get there, but from Cologne, which is just a beautiful city, one of mine. Lima, South America.
Wow.
Lebanon, Hungary, someone from Provence, another person, Cologne, Mexico, Belgium, Poland, and that's about enough.
Okay.
So
I hope we're doing everyone that's in France proud. We're probably talking about their country.
It's just one of the things when we were talking about the fact that you've been in so many countries, and as I have, but not as many as you. Even though I worked around the world for 30 years, some countries I visited many times, but every time I talk to someone, even in the same, that they've still got different areas of the country they've been to, things they've seen. There's such a huge experience out there. That's one of the reasons we're in. So we skip forward a little and see what's next. So this is the Citadel, isn't it?
Yeah, so this is in Blaye. So this is the Citadel here in Blaye. So the two ones before that, and then the image before is just walking distance, as I said, from
this one here.
Yeah. So the ship's actually just docked just behind the wall there. So just along the pathway, the ship's docking, so we can actually walk straight off the ship and into the Citadel and have a look around.
This is really making me want to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, these people look so they're set for a party.
Yeah, so this is the Camus distillery. So as I mentioned before, again, big region in that area is the cognac. So the cognac region, again, this is one of our optional excursions. So where we actually go off to the Camus distillery, and that allows us, we actually get shown around the distillery, shown how the the cognac is made and distilled. And then we actually then have a 3-course lunch, which is paired with different cognacs to the different courses. And then this picture here is actually in the afternoon. We then actually get to go and blend our own blend of cognac. So as you can see, it looks a bit like a science experiment. Yes. So we take 4 different types of cognac, and then we actually taste all those, and then you can blend them all together. Once we finish up, we then actually you get to take your own blend away. So they actually blend it, put it all together into the bottle there that you see, and then you've got your own label. So they actually, in the computer system, they will put the different percentages into the computer system. So once you take your bottle away, once you're finished it, you can actually call them back up, order another bottle. They'll mix it to the same blend and then send you another bottle as well. So I have a bottle of Alister cognac, which is it's actually just in the kitchen behind me. So yeah, it's great. It's such a great day out, and again, something that's very, very unique to that area.
And cognac itself is a blend, isn't it? But perhaps you could briefly explain a bit. There might be some people watching today who don't understand what fortified wines are and how they're made.
With that wine, I actually forget, if I'm being completely honest. There was so much information that day. I actually forget how it was actually put all together. So my apologies. You might know better than I do.
I believe that cognac is a fortified wine.
Yeah.
So it's where a wine has been fortified with a spirit, which is generally brandy, and a few other things. So yes, but I think we've got a list somewhere else of some other ones as we go through. That I can see why no one would be driving though.
Yeah, no, we were luckily the coach driver was there as well, which is good.
This is such a beautiful image. That fairy tale castle there.
So this is actually one of our included tours. So this is day 6 in Pauillac. So what we do is we actually on that day we actually have a morning of sailing. So we head down the riverway, a morning of sailing, and then in the afternoon we actually head off into the Médoc and Margaux wine region. This is actually famous for the Merlots and the Cabernet Francs. So this agent. So again, some beautiful red wines here, and it's actually deemed as one of the best red wines that come out of France completely. So we actually visit a few wineries for some tastings. And then in the afternoon, later on in the afternoon, around 5 o'clock, we actually head to this beautiful chateau. It's called Chateau Kirwan. It's actually on 99 acres of vineyards and gardens. Absolutely beautiful, as you can see from the image here. And what we do is we actually get shown around the vineyard and the winemaking process, and then we come into their banquet hall and we actually sit down for a 3-course meal. This is then accompanied by the wines, so the chateau's own wine as well. The image on the left-hand side, that was the image that I took of the tables there. So this is actually an included tour. So this is included, the whole ship actually gets to go and have wine. So just under 200 people that come. It feels like a big banquet, and you come in, a beautiful meal accompanied by those beautiful wines as well.
So we've actually got a picture here of a selection of some of the ones that you've got.
Yeah. So yeah, they're very, very, very famous. I think on the next slide you've got a pretty good story to tell about those wines.
Well, we have, as a matter of fact, talking about this Margaux, which, as you say, is one of the most expensive wines around. This man here is one of our staff, Alex, who decided that he didn't need to go on one of your tours.
No.
All he had to do was fly first class on Emirates, and Emirates came around and offered him this bottle of wine, which is worth about it costs about $1,500 Australian, and Emirates are very generous. I suppose that when you get the wine, it's not just a small tasting glass. They offer the entire bottle. So if people are flying return from here to Europe, you have 4 legs. You have 4 bottles of that. I think you just about paid for your ticket in wine.
Yeah.
So let's move back to Bordeaux.
Yeah. So we then head back to Bordeaux. So it's really a circle that we do across those 8 days. So Bordeaux to Bordeaux, and then that again opens up the whole of France. So really, once we're finished up, people can head back up to Paris and then across towards some of the other regions. So maybe across to Lyon, Provence region, or wherever they want to go, really. The great thing about Europe as well is that it's just so small. So it's a great place to be able to go. So and then you can go across all the different countries, and everything changes as well. So it's only a few hours from there across the border into Italy or up into Spain. So there's so much to do.
And I'm sure many of your cruising guests actually stock up on wine or have them shipped home from the cellar door.
Yeah, so every cellar door that we go to, every winery, they actually include shipping. So if you'd like to pick up 6 or 12 bottles, you don't have to worry about bringing that on board and thinking about how you get it home. They actually do all the shipping for you. Another thing which is unique to Viking, we're the only river cruise line out there that do it, is that if you would like to bring your own bottle of wine back on the ship and drink it, we will allow you to do that as well. So we do that across all of our river and our ocean fleet, and we don't charge any corkage as well. So again, on these days, if you enjoy a certain wine and you pick up a nice bottle, you can bring that back on the ship. You can drink that, accompany any of your meals, or take it upstairs onto the sun deck or out onto the aquavit terrace and drink that as well. So there's lots of flexibility there.
Why do we have a picture of some bread here?
It's not the whole picture. I don't know. I can only see the bread, but just above the bread,
okay,
there's actually oysters. I don't know. That on screen. So when we head back into Bordeaux, we actually have the afternoon at leisure. And again, this is another excursion that I did up to Arcachon. So Arcachon is up on the Atlantic coast. So just up on the west coast, a few hours outside of Bordeaux. So Arcachon's a really beautiful place. A lot of people from Bordeaux have their summer houses here. So you head up to a place, a headland called Cap Ferret, and it's a really great place. Now, what we actually do on this one is we actually take all of our guests up through the beautiful scenery up onto the rugged coastline, and then we actually jump on a little fishing boat and we head off into the oyster farms with the oyster farmer. They talk about all the different farming techniques and how they're all cultivated, the different sizes and gradings of the oysters. And then we come back to the oyster farmer's shack, and we actually get to taste all the oysters. So we have the oysters, the butter bread, and white wine as well, which is great. So
that's wonderful.
Again, there's nothing the purer than literally the oysters coming back with you on the boat and then getting to try them straight out of the ocean. Yeah, very fresh.
Very nice. Yeah, so we're starting to get towards the end of our tour of Bordeaux. As you say, as the next thing that people can do when they finish the cruise is either find one of your other river cruises to hook up with, or head back to Paris, move off into the Loire, something like that, or take in another part of Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you very much for what you've been showing us so far, Alister. Just stay with me because we're going to have a look, because in a couple of minutes we are going to find a winner of our beautiful Villeroy and Bosch wine decanter. This, in fact, of course, being Villeroy and Bosch is from across the border in Germany. But if people want to get onto our onto our Q&A box, all you need to do is tell us in chat one of the regions that we visited today. As I say, if you're one of our Australian viewers, because we can't ship safely to the rest of the world, but if one of you get in there, and here we are. The first person through was Leanne. Leanne, I suspect, is one of our former customers who went to the South Pacific on a beautiful holiday for her second honeymoon. So, Leanne, we'll send you an email later just to check that I have got the right Leanne, but I'm pretty sure I know who it is, and you'll be able to confirm your address, and this beautiful decanter will be coming through to you. So, and here's another one. A few other people coming through, all picking out the regions we've been to. I haven't got more carafes to give away. Let's just get back here to our presentation. Find the right button. That one? No. Oops, I'm stuck here. If I go to this one, maybe. There we are. So what I'm going to do next is, whoops. Get back to my presentation. I can't find it. Just talk amongst yourselves. Presentation, here we go. So what I wanted to do is tell you now that, of course, domestic travel is now starting up. So even though many of you, some of you might feel like booking for this cruise, or perhaps one of the others that Viking offer. And if you are, then give us a call in the Liberty Tours office. We'll talk about that soon, and we can get you onto one. But I think for most people, people are still feeling a little bit hesitant to arrange international travel. But the great thing is domestic travel is now starting up in Australia. And so people can actually go through to our website, which I'll give you details of soon. And we've started putting up on there a list of winery tours around Australia in each of the states. At the moment, we've only got, I think, one or two in each state. We'll be putting more up, but get in touch with us, and we'll be able to get you and your family to go away somewhere else. So this series of travelogues is getting great interest from people, and we've got fantastic one coming up next week with the Canadian Rockies. I will actually be talking to one of the marketing managers, a lovely lady who's responsible for the Fairmont Chateau. Two of them she looks after. She looks after Lake Louise and she looks after Banff. They're beautiful ones. And then after that, we've got a trip around the Mississippi, which around that area for me is exciting because I love music, and for me, I just want to get to America and go to the New Orleans Jazz Festival, perhaps to see Graceland's Elvis's house, and even check out the country and western there, and the rock and roll heritage is just full of it. And of course, with New Zealand opening soon, first in the next few weeks, we're also off to New Zealand, and I think first to have a look at their ski holidays. So I just want to take the opportunity to thank Alister Burn from Viking Cruises. it's been a fascinating afternoon with you, Alister.
Yeah.
Have you got anything else you'd like to tell us before we sort of close up?
One of the things with that, as you mentioned, before people moving onwards, we actually include at the moment air credits, and also we do discounted airfares or sometimes free airfares, where we'll allow people to actually fly from Australia into, say, Paris, and then they can actually fly back from any of the main European cities as well. So just in that planning stages, you are actually able to fly in and out of any of the major cities in Europe. So it's a great way to be able to really extend out your journey and do a few more weeks or a few more countries, and actually fly in and out of the different countries as well.
Oh, that's very nice. It makes the booking process nice too, if they can just arrange everything through a one-stop shop like that.
That's great, yeah. And we're as you rightly say, hopefully sooner, but I would imagine that the international travel really won't be back to normal until next year. But we have a booking guarantee. So if anybody is interested in looking at one of our tours, one of our cruises, then we do have a booking guarantee. So you can make a booking with us, and you can actually change your mind up to 24 hours before departure. So obviously, it means that you're really booking without any worry or any issues at all in terms of deposits and payments and things like that. And we're also booking cruises into 21, 22, and into 23 now as well. So it allows people to start, putting those dreams into reality rather than on hold, I guess, at the moment as well.
Yes, so that's excuse me, that's wonderful. Well, once again, I'm just going to say thank you, Alister, and
and thanks to everyone
I'm just going to thank everyone for coming, supporting Liberty Tours and Viking through this time. And we look forward to talking to you again soon.